How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Cities Skylines, East Yorkshire, and the city of Kingston. And it's been a while. It's been about 3 weeks since we've done this, which is a lot longer than I prefer, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about today's episode. Today we're building on the other side of the tracks of the main train station that runs directly out of the west of town. And what we'll be building here is essentially a mixed-use development along with a depot for the trains and the overall kind of interaction around them. What you've seen being built initially, though, I extended this overpass an additional road to allow the depot to pass under it, and I spent all this time putting those walls up and detailing it, only to remember, of course, that the tracks need to go directly through them and had to delete it all. But thought it was good footage to leave in because sometimes when you play the game, you're going to do that for sure. But the whole kind of concept behind getting this depot in was that I wanted the neighborhood next to it to kind of be a little rugged maybe. And there'll be a bit of a mix here of factories, of warehouses, of the infrastructure for the train, but also housing of various styles and various years. Kind of a hodgepodge of a neighborhood. A place that's seen industrial development, it's seen housing development both before and after the war, and it's just kind of doing its own thing. As we often say, maybe not the nicest place to live, but still a place to live. Now what I'm continuing to do here is to build out that depot, and the depot is interesting because it's meant to handle trains for the metro or the subway system in the game, which we won't be using in this series. So I've just kind of taken the rail tracks and tucked them up in there. I have a mod on that prevents all the blinking, not connected lights from showing constantly when I'm recording footage. And then just taking these trains, these are those 802 class trains that we've been seeing active, but I also have them as props, and it just kind of fills out the area. There's just one in there now. I do end up adding a second one in later, and you'll definitely see that in the live play. And in the live play, I actually recorded that first, so I hope I don't repeat myself too much. But speaking of that, so there is a live play. There's only about 10 minutes of footage today. Fairly short video overall. And that's because of kind of the long absence I've had from making videos. So there's a few things going on there. One, and I mentioned it on my Twitter, and if you're not following me on Twitter, you should. I'm at I think you know. The game just stopped loading. So I tried pruning down some assets because I want to also start building my New York series, the 1-to-1 build, and it killed I couldn't open the New York anymore after I put several hours into it, and then I couldn't open up East Yorkshire either. And I didn't remove anything that I was even using, or so I thought, but if you've ever played this game, you know how finicky it can be. It's probably my biggest pet peeve about Cities Skylines is that dealing with multiple asset collections and multiple saves at the same time can really be a pain. And I know I'm not the average user, and I'm, expecting it to do a lot more than maybe Paradox ever intended it to, but obviously there are many YouTubers and modders who are playing the game like this, and it's kind of a shame that, they haven't found a better way to do it. But you work through it. I think I figured it out now. I'm hoping that the next time I play the game, that I can actually open it. Because I have gone and played with things again, and I've also gotten myself in a place where either I'm hoping I can reload the New York save, or I'm going to start from scratch, since I put a decent amount of work. I liked what I did, but you got to get a good start with something like that, or you're never going to get a good finish. So hopefully I can get that out, I don't know, sometime during the summer. We'll see. I'd like to get a few more episodes in the can of everything, and then I'm going to be having some time off soon too, which I hope to really put a lot of effort into the game. And then what you're seeing behind as well is kind of just packing in housing. The biggest demand in the city continues to be the housing bar. Commercials creeping up there as well, and it's not terribly unbalanced as it was a few episodes ago, but it seems no matter how much housing I put down, it's not enough. You're seeing on the screen in the bottom bar that it's about 16.5. In the live play, you don't actually see it, but I did go back and check, and it was over 18. So just continuing to get really big growth, but I don't know. It's just not enough for me. So we'll see. I'm trying to decide what kind of episodes I should be creating next. I think I tried to talk about that a little bit at the end of the live play, but I definitely would like anyone's feedback. Which parts of the city have you been hoping to see for a while, and that you'd like me to focus on next? This is one of those few times where I feel like I've asked this question a lot, and then I'll often answer myself before I even get done asking you or giving you a chance to write something in the comments. And yeah, I shouldn't do that. This is one of those times where I have no clue what I should be doing next, other than just to keep filling in housing. But I want something more than that. I want to build the next large attraction in the city, and the next big thing that looks different. And I have one idea, like I said, kicking around in my head to do for part of the area north of the city center. But if I do end up doing that, it's not going to be anytime soon anyway. So, please give me your ideas. Let's get some user feedback in here and see what we can do. So I'm trying right now to build out the area that's actually behind the shopping center and up behind the bus depot. So I've kind of, again, just keeping with that mixed use theme, I'm giving some separation. I put a small park in there and a parking lot. But then directly past that housing. And even though it feels kind of close to the shopping center, I feel like that kind of stopgap of all this parking and a little bit of green space is just enough to distinguish these houses, those buildings along the main road, as their own thing. I mean, they're apartments. They're, again, not going to be the fanciest places to live in the city, but really accessible, really quick to walk into town. So definitely a nice place that I think people in the city would like to live. And then again, I kind of stopgapped it with that large white building, which is, I believe, an office building. And again, just kind of made sense to stick an office building on some undeveloped land that is directly behind the main train station, the main bus depot in the city. It makes sense. And what I'm really excited about really is just is making sure that this part of the city is done. Having the kind of focal point be that train station main road area, but have the spot directly to the west of it be blank, looks bad. I want my my screenshots to look a lot better, and I want my cinematics to look good. And this is really going to help. And I think I stuck a cinematic at the beginning and the end, as I always do. But I got a nice reaction on Twitter, so thank you for everyone who's already following me apparently, and is very understanding of the delay. But no more delays, hopefully. I'm going to try to get back to my normal schedule. Hopefully this is an aberration and won't continue on. And then the last thing we're going to see here before we move on to the live play itself is a bus depot. Well, I don't know. Bus parking lot, maybe? I think the depot is the area where you're waiting for them next to it. Or maybe that's the bus station. There's too many terms here. We're not going to get them all right. That's okay. But what I've done here is just kind of done a quick build, again, using the same buses that are used in the city as props. And then I remembered that I had these numerical assets. These are for like the UK highways. So I think I am using this on like the A63 highway in the main part of the city. But then it just kind of made sense to put them here as well. Although I was for a minute like, oh my God, why is there no 9? There's no 9. And of course, there's just a 6, and you just got to flip it around. I'm an idiot. And then, yeah, just stuck the numbers up, stuck some decals in, a couple of fences, and I don't know, I think it looks really cool. Again, I wanted more transit infrastructure, and this really makes sense directly next to where it is, next to the train station. And continuing to use those lights as we did in, I think, the last build as well. We threw a bit of that in. But that's going to be it for now. Please stick around for the live play. I really hope you enjoy it. And here it is right now. All right, and here we are in the live play. And you know what? I am so excited to record this right now. I have not recorded any audio for these videos in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. which I'm sure I mentioned in the time lapse, but I'm recording this first, so let's just dive right in here. I got a nice wide shot of a lot of what was been built in this episode. So you can see all the updates to the train, and I really just love seeing the trains come in and out of here, kind of posed against the prop trains, and as well as this depot that was built. And I also kind of like how the depot sits directly outside all these crazy interlocks here. And when I first built this part of the train, I thought it looked a little bit messy, and I thought maybe at some point I would change it. But one of the things I did off camera was I actually went back and upgraded a lot of these tracks to have less of the overhead wire stanchions, whatever those are called. And I think it looks a lot better, and because of the funky way the game works and how this particular train station works, I'm a little bit limited, but in the end I'm really happy with how the rail infrastructure turned out in this side of the city, and looking forward to expanding it at some point. Not sure when we'll get to that, but we'll see. Another bit that was seen off camera was the police station. And this is just, I believe, an asset from the workshop. I don't believe this is vanilla. Correct me if I'm wrong. But just some light detailing around it, a fence, some arrows and decals, and then all these cars are props. So just adding a little bit of a parking lot around it. And yeah, quick and easy. Makes sense to have it here next to a lot of city connections. I think it kind of works, and I think it kind of becomes the anchor of what is otherwise a pretty mixed-use community. And some of this in the distance here was built during the most recent live stream, so we'll talk about that in a second. But what I was just building off camera just directly before recording this was all of this area over here. So kind of the old against the new. Some of this has been redeveloped maybe after the war. Maybe some of this was from before it. And I also stuck this bakery in here. This is just a small bakery, but Hull in real life has a large bakery in a pretty somewhat similar part of the city. It's a massive complex, and I didn't want to do that over here. But I think this is a nice little nod to the bakery that's over there. Smells real good sometimes when you're driving by there. All right, and then, as I said, this was also built a few days ago, so this is my kind of transition between these two areas, trying to envision this as a bit of a main road, and that's why it has some of these larger buildings around it. I figure, maybe there was something important here, a factory or whatnot, before the war. Maybe it got bombed out, and afterwards they put up some not hideous looking buildings. These assets are nice, but just in terms of what they're trying to portray, I think that this would be, a decent look for a city, even though it has that massive parking lot right in the middle, which kind of kills the vibe. I like the houses that we built on that stream much better. So this was just a quick copy and paste job with the library, but I think it's really making this area, sorry, spinning around here, really start to pop to life. I wanted to fill in and finish all of this, but I honestly just don't have the time today. It's been a little bit of a struggle recently, and I'm sorry about that, but I'll do that off camera at some point. It's nothing major there. What I really want to be looking forward to for the next few episodes is going bigger, trying to expand infrastructure. I haven't decided exactly what's going to happen yet. I got a few big ideas kicking around, and I'll see if I can make one or two of them happen for you. So anyway, thank you once again, as always, for hanging around and checking out City Skylines East Yorkshire. See you soon.